Welcome to Vibrant Numerals. In this video, we're going to talk about the numerical vibrations in astrology for June 2025. I'm Elizabeth, and I help spiritual practitioners and number enthusiasts apply numerology to their everyday lives and to their practice. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. So to give a bit of a recap in this year, we are in this very powerful year of 2025 that is resonating at a 9. So this is a year very much of endings, but we see that there's a big tie between endings and new beginnings. So we see things ending, whether it's the way we do things, the things we're thinking about, mindsets, both at an individual level and at collective and group levels. But we also see glimpses of the new coming in, like this new energy that can replace the old that is ending. And so we have been going through this 9 cycle of the months where the months from January until September are resonating at the order in which they present themselves, which isn't always the case. So January is 1, February is 2, and so on. And so when we get here to June, now we are having this vibrational energy of 15 and 6. So in May, we had this big month of change. And you might want to take a moment and just look back, if nothing else, for the last 2 months. And if you're watching this after June 2025, then you'll want to go back and you'll want to look from January up until this point. But for the last 2 months, so for April, it really was this energy of building a foundation, but also of examining our foundations to make sure that the foundation is actually strong and secure and stable. So looking at what we're standing on and what are the foundations that needed to be changed, recognizing which ones need to be changed in that they need to be torn down and which ones need to be changed in that they need to be built up or made more prominent or highlighted. And so then we come into May, where it is a month of big time change, lots and lots of 5 change. And so once we came into May, now all these changes are starting to occur, some of which we have not chosen to occur, but they're happening whether we like it or not. And so there's lots of resistance to change as well as change happening, but there's a lot of flow with change, so that anybody that was really embracing the change that needed to occur and stepping into it, you were seeing it full blown in your face in May. And in April, anybody that was accepting that foundations that needed to be broken down and was allowing those to be broken down so that new foundations could be built, and working on building these new foundations, them also were highlighted and spotlighted. June is similar, and now that it's like this big highlighting of anyone that has in May, up until May, has been really doing the work to understand what needed to end, what and what space needs to be made for the new to come in. Here in June, now this 6 is all about a comfort zone, but all of these vibrations are neutral. So it's not just being in our comfort zone, it's really an examination of your comfort zones. So, in what areas of life are you staying stuck in your comfort zones? Or are you behaving in a way that you're comfortable with something that you really should not be comfortable with, that it's not good for you and it may not be good for others around you? And so, needing to really reestablish what those comfort zones are, especially because we're in this 2025 year of endings. We're needing to end some of these comfort zones. So some of these things that we've been comfortable with saying and seeing and doing, no, we need to get rid of that so then these new comfort zones can be put in place. And because this 6 is coming from the 15, it's relying heavily on this 5 from May. So it requires that these changes be made. So if changes were not made in May, here's again where some of these changes are being forced on us, and we can resist. We have free will to choose not to go with it, but they're going to happen whether we like it or not. So it's just how much are we going with the flow of change and allowing change, and how much are we not. But if we step into this change, if in May we have stepped into this change, we're allowing the change to happen, we're allowing the change to build upon our vibration in our life, now we can get this new energy that's coming in. And this play on change and new energy, these two vibrations weaving together to make this 6, has another component of recognizing that you are either in bondage or freedom in your comfort. And so being that it's a 15 to 6, now you're making this choice whether you are going to be in bondage to or you're going to be freed from some of these comfort zones. So June seems to be a very interesting month indeed. So June is part of this month by month 9 cycle. So our 9 cycles are when we are needing to find an entry point to tap into these vibrations and use the vibration, use the energy to really motivate and move things. So it's the energy to be able to move things forward. And everything in our earthly plane moves and is created, manifest, and destroyed. So created and destroyed in a 9 cycle. And so we can use these 9 cycles. So we talked about the 6 for June as part of this bigger 9 cycle, but June also has 3 9 cycles of its own. And so you can use these smaller 9 cycles within the month to really work on or manifest smaller pieces to the bigger whole. So with any bigger goal, especially with endings and wanting to draw in new beginnings, there's lots of smaller steps that need to be taken. So these 9 cycles during any of the months are really good for moving things forward through those small steps. So these are your small steps that you can take. And because it's in June, these are really small steps around your comfort zones. So it's taking these small steps through the 9 cycle of making your spaces in your mind and your emotions more comfortable. Um, and making sure to include the examination of comfort zones and breaking down those comfort zones. So because June has these 3 9 cycles, you really could use this first 9 cycle to examine your comfort zones, understand which of these comfort zones are ones that you want to start breaking down, that are needing to be broken down so that these chains and endings can actually occur, and which ones need to be built up or created. And then you can use your second 9 cycle to begin to break down, understand what it means to break down a comfort zone. What are some of these things that you just need to acknowledge to get the ball rolling? Is a comfort zone that really should not be comfortable to you? And how can you begin to change that? And then in that third 9 cycle, you could continue to change those comfort zones that you want to change, but you can also start building up and creating the comfort zones that you want to create or need to create for yourself going forward in this year. So we will be in this larger 9 cycle through September, but then in October we have more 1 energy. So any of these small little steps we can do with these 9 cycles throughout each of the months is going to help us to bring these endings on and also allow this big, beautiful energy to come in and begin to create new lives and new spaces for us. So every month has these special portal days, and these are days where the visual representation of the month and the visual representation of the day are the same number or add up to the same single digit number. And it's when we have this, where we have the same vibration sitting next to each other, that now that energy is moving so quickly, it's amplified and moving quickly, that we're able to use that energy to pull things in or to push things out. And so that's what you want to use these portal day for. And especially for June, we want to really focus on uh, being able to push in or out, or draw in or push out any of these energies that are needed for either breaking up or for building and creating comfort zones. And so we have 3 of these portal days here in June. And the other interesting thing that is coming with these portal days is that the numerical vibration of 66 is also the numerical vibration of the word freedom in English. And so it's taking us back to that 15-6 for the month, in that it's asking you to really examine and understand if you are in bondage to your comfort zones, or are you being freed by them? Are you receiving freedom by the comfort zones that you are creating or breaking up? And so this is another good way of using this energy here in June to be able to break down or build up these comfort zones. So there's also some important astrology that you should be aware of in coming into June. And you want to make sure that you understand that this energy that's coming in is very specific to the planets and the aspects in which they are oriented to each other. But if you can align that vibration with this vibration of 6 and examining these comfort zones and what you want to do around your comfort zones, you can manifest some of these building up and breaking down of comfort zones much easier. And so there's a couple of important astrology that I wanted to note that happened previously, but still are resonating here in this month of June. So one of those is that Pluto is now in retrograde. So any of these transformations that are occurring with that Pluto energy is directed inward. So you really should be looking at transforming comfort zones that are inwardly established, not necessarily that are established outside of you, but are inwardly established. What are the definitions you have around some of these comfort zones that are either building them up or breaking them down? We also want to recognize that Mercury has already been conjunct with Chiron in May. And then here in June, we see that Mercury has several other aspects with Chiron in June, and the Sun also has some aspects, and Venus, I believe. Yes, and Venus with Chiron. And Chiron is that wound, it's that wounded healer. So expect that you have some pushing on this wound. And so you can use this energy to really recognize which of your comfort zones have come from your wounding. So which of these comfort zones have you created for yourself or have you stepped into to guard around your wounding, which really prevents you from healing, and which comfort zones are you wanting to create or step into that are really going to push your healing forward. And you can use some of this astrology vibration to do that as well. We still do have a lot of energy that we've seen in other months in this year around Venus and Mercury. Mercury and Venus are still doing a whole lot of work in this month of June. So make sure that you're staying tapped into those energies as well, especially because with Venus and with Mercury, these started at the beginning of the year. So we started seeing this Venus energy really taking form and becoming dominant in January, and Mercury started becoming dominant right after that. So there's a whole lot going on with the beauty of things, how you value things, how you attract things in that Venus energy, but also how you're communicating those values. What you believe in and who you are, and the changes and the things you want to see for the world, Mercury. So these are the important astrology. The other one I think that I'll note is at the end of June, we have this Jupiter chasmy where Jupiter is conjunct the sun. This is very big energy. Um, I know for myself that on some of these days where it's just really big energy, I can't really necessarily use it. I have to just lay back and take it in, and while I'm resting and taking it in, allow myself to use it later. But if you want to be able to use that energy on that day, you're going to have to do some planning and do some work beforehand. Probably, especially right as Jupiter is entering Cancer, because this is very different, new energy for us, because Jupiter has not been in Cancer. This is just entering in Cancer in early June. So work with that energy before we get to this chasmy between Jupiter and the Sun at the end of the month. So beginning of the month, Jupiter moving into Cancer, begin working with that energy, and then you can probably use and maneuver with this energy, this big energy that's coming in at the end of the month. Thanks for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you get the most out of these June 2025 energies. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Click down below to get the free numerology calculations guide, and also to sign up for the Oracle 56 newsletter, where you can find any of my channel's messages for June. And have a good one. Thank you. Bye.